Buzzing.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Cinq Boys podcast.
Simple.
Cinq Boys.
It's late.
It's late, but we are not tired. We're ready to fucking go, boys.
We just watched
Commanders, Ravens, the streak is over.
the end of preseason week 2. Things are ramping up. Guys are getting injured. Terry McLaurin limped his way out of the game. Yikes.
Are you serious?
We drafted our fantasy teams this weekend.
Much earlier than anyone would hope to do, but when everybody's schedule's all over the place, sometimes that's just how the
The ankle twists.
I was gonna say the ankle flies. Yikes.
I feel pretty good about my team.
I reached
Yeah, you did.
for Calvin Ridley, but it's like
And
no. The first 6 or 7 picks, I believe you actually can't go wrong with any of them. And I didn't want to take a running back. I didn't want to take Kelsey because every mock I did when I went through it, I couldn't get a good enough team when I picked Kelsey. And the biggest home run hitter on that list is Tyreek. Jamar has an injured quarterback coming into the season, and he only gets about 110 targets a year. He's got T. Higgins there. The guy they drafted is there. Tyler Boyd is there. Joe Mixon is poised to have a big year. They have a new tight end. Anyway, Tyreek, dude. Guy gets 170 targets a year, and his quarterback got hurt last year, and he still had the second most points in the entire league. What kind of fucking conversation are we having here, boys?
People think it's destined to happen that Tua is going to get hurt.
He's a tough guy. I think the jiu-jitsu will help him big time.
The jiu-jitsu. I, in fact, drafted Kelsey.
Yeah, you got a different slot, though, than me. I can't go 20 picks without taking a receiver or running back.
But nevertheless, we got people talking shit already. I can't wait. Week 1. Oh my God, it can't come quick enough. We got divisional previews for you guys. We're doing the NFC West and the NFC South. One division that has 2 teams that could go very far.
I mean, I know what division you're talking about, but okay.
I'm high on the Seahawks. I really like the Seahawks.
Dude, very far is one thing. Make the playoffs? Sure. Yes, definitely.
You're underrating the Seahawks already, I can tell.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. I am not high on the Seahawks.
I don't understand.
Not as high. Not as high.
I don't understand it.
Dude, NFL quarterback careers don't start at 32 years old.
So you just think he can't replicate what he did last year?
I think even if he does, we know what the ceiling was for that team. I understand that they were younger. A lot of their guys were young. But, dude, you don't just this formula has never happened. So it's why would I believe that this is the first time? Pete Carroll's a hell of a coach. Geno seems like a great guy, great leader. They got a lot of skill, but I don't think they're going to win their division.
I don't think winning a division really matters that much. I've seen so many teams go on the road all playoffs long. To me, they got better in every facet, and when we thought they couldn't get stronger somewhere, they added maybe one of the best receivers. I mean, I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I really wanted him, but dude, he could be top 10 this year. He could take DK's spot as number 1.
Dude, you said that during the draft. I think you're absolutely out of your.
I think he's going to be unbelievable.
Well, let's just say this: he cannot do what DK Metcalf can do. He's not that big. He's not taller than him. He might not be faster than him. And just based off of those things, if you're to put them both in the same situation over and over again, I'm gonna bet on DK. DK has the rapport with Geno Smith.
What do we struggle the most with in Madden?
Don't.
Passing. Throwing picks.
I thought it was going to be a little deeper than that. No pun intended.
Because why? Because guys aren't open. Nobody's open. Jackson Smith is always open.
If anything, I think that DK could have a bigger year this year because Jackson Smith is the third guy now instead of just the two-headed snake that they were the past couple of years.
Hey, you're going to have to cover all of them, but let's hop right into the NFC West.
All right. So the 49ers. Last year, I think that like before last year, they've kind of like with the Jimmy G era, they just like were a perennial playoff team. And I believe that they were winning their division every year. The Cardinals were good with Kyler. Dude, you know Kyler has 2 Pro Bowls and like 3 playoff wins? Did you
didn't know
ever think that? And then the Seahawks were good with Russ, but last year they started 3-4. Trey Lance breaks his leg in week 2 after playing terrible against Chicago in that monsoon in week 1. So his entire career is that to this point. Jimmy G wins 4 in a row after starting 3-4, but then he gets hurt in week 13. Big Cock Brock enters the picture. It's this almost like an actual Cinderella story, but it came out of nowhere. So it was like there was no buildup. It was just like, who is this guy? And then he just started doing his thing. And, you know, what do they say about Kyle Shanahan system quarterbacks?
Get the pass off.
Don't turn it over. Just manage the game. You don't have to be a star. But Brock showed a little bit more than that. And what was it? Nick was saying that Seattle and Pete Carroll dominate Kyle Shanahan in their matchups over their careers. Wasn't the case in the wild card. They handled Seattle, especially in that second half. I think it was like 20-3 in the second half or something like that. And then they beat Dallas. Dude, was that the Zeke as the center play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
good riddance.
Yeah. And then I think Purdy gets hurt on the second drive in the NFC Championship game, and you know what could have been. We never get to find out. They get trounced 31-7 because Josh Johnson comes in and gets hurt, so they play most of the second half without a quarterback at all. So now my whole thing with the 49ers this year is just maintaining status quo. It's that not a lot for them has changed. Head coach is still the same. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's left, and what's his face left from the Eagles? The DC there. But I'm just going into this season thinking that it can't possibly change that much.
They lost McGlinchey. That will change things.
I'm talking about the defense.
It seemed like
losing a DC.
It seemed like losing D'Amico Ryans is going to be massive. Their run defense wasn't great last year, was it? Like they couldn't stop the Eagles. Well, nobody could, but
dude, I think that they were also on the field probably 80% of the game.
They have Nick Bosa, a bunch of great linebackers, a bunch of pretty good secondary players. They've been known as a really good defense, but is that D'Amico Ryans? I guess we're going to find out. For me, though, which you said, when I think about the Niners, I think there's this class in the NFL of teams now where, you know, we don't have a Mahomes or a Burrow or a Josh Allen, this absolute stud. And I think the Eagles can maybe kind of fringe be included in this, but teams where quarterbacks, the quarterback benefits so much from the roster they have around them. So Brock Purdy, look at all the weapons he has, all the yards after catch. Just get the ball out and on time, and you're off and running. Daniel Jones with the Giants, get that guy some weapons, get him out and running on the rollouts. You're off and running. You can do that with a bunch of more teams you can talk about. And for the Niners, it's just they are the premium. They have this guy that they got in the last round who can get the ball out on time accurately to a bunch of playmakers. And who's going to stop them?
That's part of my point. They have the fifth easiest schedule in the NFL when typically teams in the same division literally have the exact same schedule, except for the three teams outside of the two divisional matchups that they have. They have the fifth hardest schedule, and the rest of the division has at least 15th. So, and dude, if you look at their schedule, it's actual bad teams. Like we were talking about it the other day, how it's not easy to find teams that are bad in today's NFL. Like you could say that the Bucs, the Panthers,
Cardinals,
the Bears,
possibly
the Texans, the Colts, the Rams. But it's like each one of those teams has something to offer where they can fucking kill you with it. So, and who knows how these rookies are going to be. There's been a lot of moving pieces all over the league, but it's like outside of those 7 or 8 teams I just named, mostly everybody can give somebody else a fucking problem. So, yeah, dude. George Kittle has a groin issue, but he should be ready for week 1. Otherwise, coming into the season, I remember Debo was hurt last year coming into the season. I think Ayuk is generally healthy. He's healthy, though, right now. McCaffrey is fully healthy right now. Trent Williams, fully healthy right now. Purdy, fully healthy right now. Like, they're fucking buzzing. And I just don't see a planet in which they don't win this division by even 2 games. Maybe 3.
Head to head against the Seahawks, I think they win 7 out of 10 times, something like that. But there's no reason that Seahawks, looking at the Seahawks roster and the guys they added, I'm really feeling good about Boye Mafe, and they have really, really good secondary. And I think they brought Bobby Wagner back. We'll see how much that's actually going to impact anything. But on offense, they improved as well. And when it comes to winning games on your schedule, I think they are going to be just as capable as the 49ers. It's just head to head, how they match up and how they dominate.
I think the Seahawks got embarrassed a couple times last year. I don't remember it, but I feel like when I looked at their schedule, it was like they lost to that fucking team.
Do you remember it was always like a 60-point game? It's their defense. They can score with it. They can score with just about everybody.
All right, do you want to go into the Seahawks?
Let's do it.
All right. Seahawks last year finished season 9-8. Their preseason over under in FanDuel was 5.5, and we had them at 2-15. So I think that it's pretty easy to see that they came out of fucking nowhere last year. Obviously, they traded Russell Wilson for Drew Lock and picks, and with those picks, we now know who they took with all of them. They got Charles Cross and Boye Mafe last year. And this year, they took Devin Witherspoon, the corner, who is the last pick to sign it. He had a holdout for a guy that never played it down in the NFL. Huge sack. They also drafted Kenneth Walker last year. That wasn't a part of the draft. They also drafted Tariq Woolen. That wasn't a part of the Russell trade. That was just their own picks, but they've been hitting a hell of a 2 drafts so far. And they also drafted Jackson Smith. I don't know how I missed that.
He's a stud. I can't wait to see it.
Ohio State receivers.
Let's try to name as many as we can.
I don't know any.
Terry McLaurin, Garrett Wilson.
That's all I got. I didn't even say them. Yikes.
Chris Olave.
Nice, dude.
Jackson Smith.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's insane? That Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase were on the same college team.
Did you see that J video as well?
Oh. J video? There's the letter J?
Yeah. There's a guy that's recently blown up making like NFL what if videos, and he's like, this is, I thought it was really strange that all these like elite quarterbacks' first names started with J. So I wanted to make an all J team. And then he's like Joe Burrow, who incidentally played with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on the same team, which should have been illegal. And then I think he took Jonathan Taylor, Juwan Jennings, Jalen Waddle.
How is Juwan Jennings on that
The
team?
best J tight end.
Juwan Jennings?
I guess.
No, Juwan Johnson. Juwan Jennings is the receiver, the fourth stringer for the 49ers.
Oh,
That's why I was like, what are you talking about? How did that guy get on
It's an
that?
absolute reach
Juwan Johnson is the best tight end that he could find
with a J.
Yikes. Big slack. Jimmy Graham, dude. Oh, Jimmy Graham. Can we just say this guy got arrested for having a seizure? Yes, dude. That was the ESPN bottom line. Yes, dude. You saw it too,
There's
dude.
no way that's actually what happened.
Said he had a medical episode and he was seizing out, and then they took him into custody.
Maybe that just
What
means
is
that
going on?
they needed to facilitate a way to get him to the hospital. So they
need to put handcuffs on his back?
does custody really mean handcuffs? Like when we're talking about child custody, are parents locking their kids up in handcuffs?
I mean, they can't go anywhere else, right? You have to go to school.
Child custody? What are you talking about? Going to school? Talking about who has the kids.
Yeah, but what is custody of a child? It's they follow your rules. Go to the school in the district that you live in. Have to follow your rules in the house.
It's just I mean, it's more that. It's like you're the parent. You are legally the guardian.
Yeah.
And this other person,
they lost.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
They're not allowed.
They're bad.
You're gonna have to put me in custody. What's that? Way down.
So they also signed free agent edge rusher Draymond Jones. I don't know who that is, but he signed for $17 million a year. The Seahawks. And they got Wagner. Jamal Adams should be healthy this year. They got Tariq Woolen and the other guy, the other corner they drafted last year who played pretty well.
Kobe Bryant.
I don't know any of their defensive linemen off the top of my head.
Uwe Mafe.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude. I think that Seattle has a reputation of being a pretty feisty place when it comes to the gridiron, playing in that stadium. So, all right, dude. I think we should just go through their schedule because I mean, I need to see what you're saying and what do you think their record's going to be?
I think you and me have very different thoughts on how good they can be and what kinds of teams they can beat. But
okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Week 1, home versus the Rams. Okay. Week 2 at Detroit.
Yeah, see, I think
they can win,
that was
but I'm not handing them that one.
I think it was 41-38 last year.
All right, home against the Panthers.
Yeah. What do you
I'm
mean?
probably going to take the Panthers to cover in that game.
You're too high on their defense.
Dude, I just read your notes on the Panthers, and it was a gargle session.
It was one of those. It was the Steelers last year.
Dude.
It's this team isn't that good, but I'm gonna hop on board.
Okay, I'll be snuggling up next to Desmond Ridder and Bijan on the Panthers bandwagon for this year. I mean the Falcons. All right, at the Bengals, at the Giants, week 4.
Dude, they might have our number.
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here, dude. All right. Away, they're at the Bengals. That's in week 6.
I think they could beat the Cardinals, the Browns, Ravens, maybe not. Commanders, yes. Rams again. Niners, they might split. Cowboys, I think they can go.
Why would they split? If we're talking about them not being able to handle fully the Lions, we're talking about they might be able to not cover against the Panthers. They might not be able to beat the Giants. I don't think that it's going to be that easy against the Browns like you saying it is. Yikes. Dude, they could get fucking smoked by the 49ers. Cowboys, they could get smoked by them. They could get smoked by them. They can get smoked by them. Dude. Okay, here's the ultimate Jack test.
Titans,
No.
Steelers,
Here's the ultimate Jack test. Steelers at Seahawks. Who wins?
Seattle.
I'm taking the Steelers.
I know. I probably will too. In that week 16 game.
Yikes. All right. So what do you have their final record at? I'll take 10-7.
You just looked through their schedule and just destroyed them and then said that they're going to win 10 games.
I didn't know. My intentions are not to destroy them. My intentions are to say that they shouldn't necessarily be favored by more than 4 points against any of those teams.
I'm going to take 9-8.
Wow. It's unbelievable.
Dude, I think the 49ers are going to go like 10-7.
Why? Fifth easiest schedule.
What division
They
are they?
destroyed the Seahawks and Dallas in the playoffs.
So they're playing the NFC East and the
who?
The NFC West.
Oh.
You just had the schedule up.
Yeah. I want to look at the 49ers
AFC
schedule.
North. That's not easy. The 49ers have to play those teams too.
All right, first game at the Steelers.
Dude,
that is a must-watch game.
I'm not taking when you write down like they have the whatever ranked hardest schedule. I'm not taking that seriously anymore. They're playing the AFC North and the NFC East. That is not fifth easiest.
At the Steelers, at the Rams, home versus the Giants, Cardinals, Cowboys, who they slaughtered last year, at the Browns, at the Vikings. The Bengals game might be tough. They should be able to clean house against the Jags.
They got the Vikings,
the Bucs,
the Jags, and the Bucs.
Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, Rams. Dude, I'm just saying, dude. Someone takes time out of their day, a lot of time, to put together this information and these statistics about strength of schedule for a reason, dude. They're not just writing chalk on a chalkboard and it's some gibberish. This information comes from a place of
the 49ers are a little bit better than the Seahawks.
I can't believe it took us that long. I don't know why I have to keep going until you agree with me.
You don't.
Yeah. All right, so let's stop. Moving on. The Arizona Cardinals. Didn't know this last year either. Or didn't know this until now. Kyler Murray just actually started 11 games, and the team went 4-7. This was after he signed a massive extension, and there was Filmgate about how he doesn't watch film, and he plays Xbox. And then he doesn't care about winning football. And that is he the right guy for the job? And this was back when Cliff Kingsbury was still the head coach. They went 4-7 with a guy that just made the Pro Bowl twice in his first 3 years. They beat the Raiders, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Rams. All of them were a disgrace last year. Their losses were to reasonable teams. That's why I wrote them down. The Chiefs, the Rams, week 2, when Stafford and Kupp were still healthy. The Eagles, Seattle twice, Minnesota, and San Francisco. They finished 4-13. So when Kyler went down, they went 0-6. They lost.
Hopkins was out.
Oh, yeah, in the first 6 weeks, true. They lost Zach Allen. He's a defensive end that got fucking paid wherever he went. They lost D-Hop. They lost Byron Murphy. And J.J. Watt retired.
And
so 4 cornerstone players they lost.
And Buda Baker wants out. And he just got paid.
Buda Baker was buzzing around the ice yesterday.
What?
No, I mean, like, he was fucking making plays yesterday in preseason.
The ice?
Yeah. I think I'm so... Hockey terminology, they can't leave each other. Buzzing around on the ice, flying through the neutral zone.
Buzzing around the field?
Dude, stop giving me a hard time about this. They drafted...
Buzzing around the gridiron, bud?
Bud.
Pow.
They drafted Paris Johnson, a tackle, who apparently is the son of a Pro Bowl tackle. So good for them.
I was in the fan.
They drafted BJ Ojolari.
He wishes he was as good.
And then overall, their draft was 5 defensive players, a quarterback, 2 linemen, and a receiver. So what this is telling me is that they don't have a fucking plan. They hired Jonathan Gannon, who's the DC of the Eagles last year.
It's bad.
And they drafted 5 defensive players. I guess that's what I was thinking. All right, dude. Who knows when Kyler's going to come back? How are we feeling about the Cardinals?
Doesn't matter. They suck.
Copy that.
Is this going to be our 2-15 prediction team?
No way, dude. They're too talented.
Too talented. They have Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore.
Dude, I watched Marquise
Buda
Brown
Baker.
play yesterday, and I was like, I should have fucking drafted that guy.
Who's their
Dude,
quarterback?
he's so fucking good.
Colt.
Yeah, dude.
Is Colt still
Did
there?
you know he's 36?
Yeah.
And in his 13th year? Holy fucking shit, dude. When did that guy play in college? I feel like it was 6 years ago.
Colt McCoy. He played for Texas too.
Yeah, he was doubling. He was playing in college and the NFL.
Dude, your name is Colt McCoy, and you played for Texas, and you're a star quarterback, the American hero. Won a game against the Seahawks for the New York Giants. That one time we were at Jimmy G's.
Ugh. Dude, sometimes I think back to Jimmy G's days, and I'm like, damn, bro, I used to really like going there. And then I remember not remembering going there. Speaking of Jimmy G's, congratulations to Jack on his 2 years sobriety.
Bang! Puts it.
This kid is fucking buzzing.
Joe's coming up soon.
Yeah, mine's in 2 months.
Yeah.
2.5 months.
Yeah, but it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah. I'm proud of you, bro.
No, isn't yours October 3rd?
November 3rd.
Oh,
Same day as Dad's heart transplant birthday.
and Dino.
His birthday.
Yeah.
What a day.
We
for the
forgot
boys.
to sign up for softball.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yikes.
All right, moving on. The Rams. The trusty Rams. The Sean McVay. Oh my God, dude. Remember after the Super Bowl, they were like, fuck picks. We don't need them. We'll trade them all away. And now they're in this situation. Turns out they had 14 picks in this year's draft. I don't know where they got them, but they got them.
Jalen Ramsey trade.
And they covered every single fucking base they possibly could, even down to the punter. 7 defensive players, a quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, tackle, and guard. They covered every position on offense except for the center. But they figured the punter was more important. So since the Super Bowl, these are the guys that I remember them losing. They lost Odell, Nick Scott, the safety, Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner, A'Shawn Robinson, and Taylor Rapp. All of those guys are on defense. So their defense is going to be what's the place you take your baby when you go to work? A daycare center. That's what their defense is going to be this year. So this is the 2-15
Daycare defense. Let's go.
Also, they refuse to sign anybody or draft anybody to be on Cooper Kupp's by his side. Yeah.
No, it's him and Skronik.
And Van Jefferson.
2 white guys that look pretty similar.
With Matt Stafford, John Wolford, Bryce Perkins, and Baker. Those guys were starting quarterbacks. That's a brutal year, dude. It's one thing being 3-13 for a team you knew was going to be bad with all the same quarterback. It's another one where it's a backup quarterback carousel.
Do you remember that Week 18 matchup between the Seahawks and the Rams? And you took the Seahawks and I took the Rams, and we were arguing over that Geno late hit on Jalen Ramsey on the sideline.
Geno hit Jalen Ramsey?
The other way around.
Oh, yeah, dude. Geno definitely stepped out. And he got fucking rocked in the head. Oh, I remember that.
No, that's not what happened. Jalen Ramsey was standing on the sideline. And he was like, "You shall not pass. I'm not moving forward to hit you, but you shall not pass." And then Gino took a step out and then went into Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, yeah. You're a guy that hates protecting quarterbacks and loves seeing teams
Protecting
derailed
quarterbacks.
by stupid
Protecting quarterbacks. The quarterback ran into him. That's not
Jalen Ramsey should have gotten out of the way.
out of the way. Yeah, have another 15 yards. Shut up, dude.
Dude, think about it like this. If you're driving a car and someone jaywalks and you are going 3 miles an hour and you bump them, it's your fault. You saw them and you still decided to drive your car and not stop. And now it's your fault. It's Jalen Ramsey's the car. Geno Smith was the jaywalking citizen. Yeah.
I disagree.
You're not allowed. All right. I got the 49ers finishing 13-4. I got the Seahawks going 10-7. I got the Cardinals going 5-12. Cardinals 3-14. No, Cardinals 6-10.
You just
Yikes. 6-11.
What about the Rams? You just gave Cardinals 2 predictions.
The Cardinals 6-11. Wait. The Cardinals 7-10. The Rams 4-13. I think Kyler's gonna come back and scrape together a couple wins at the end of the season for them.
How are they going to get wins before that?
They're not.
So a couple of 7?
It sounds good.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be right about that.
I think 5. 5 is generous for them.
I don't think they're as bad as you think they are.
I still think Kyler's coming back way later than anybody else thinks.
Dude, I think that they could just never put it together.
The entire next season.
But it's like Kyler's been hurt. DeAndre Hopkins was suspended. J.J. Watt was hurt. And now he's retired. I just feel like they haven't been able to get all the pieces aligned. And they fired their HC. Dude. All right, start it up.
NFC South.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finished 8-9 last year, edging every other team out in their division by 1 win. The other teams had 7-10.
I can't wait for you to go into this.
And the negative team, 8-9, made the playoffs, got smoked in the playoffs. Second in pass yards per game. That stat doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. They didn't choose to run, and they were passing.
And this is the problem: is they were 32nd in rush yards per game, and they were 10 yards behind 31st.
Yeah, Brady was averaging 45 pass attempts a game at least. That was on the low end.
They didn't even try. And Rashad White is still like, please take me with a second round, third round pick in the fantasy. It's like, that guy sucks. Their run game sucks.
Did they get a new OC or they just fired
tanking.
Brady?
They have to be tanking.
I don't know why they would be tanking. They have a lot of talent.
They have 2 receivers and then some decent defense.
Can we apply the Brock Purdy theory and the take care of the ball theory, the Ryan Tannehill theory to the Buccaneers? Maybe Baker can lead them to the playoffs.
Baker leads the league in picks since he's been in the league.
Okay, dude, that's
not what Brock does. Yikes. Also, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are not Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. They're not, I'm going to catch this ball and truck 3 guys and break 7 tackles and run for a 70-yard touchdown. You kind of have to put it on the spot, and I have to go and get it, or I have to catch a deep ball and score a long touchdown. But most of their touches are outside passes where the quarterback has to kind of put it there.
Dude, it's Baker.
I don't think Baker's that guy.
What do you mean he's not that guy?
Dude, he sucks.
He's picked the first overall.
Yeah, they whiffed hard.
Dude,
swing and
he
miss.
can make those plays.
No, he can't.
Yes.
Dude, he was struggling so hard with the Rams last year. He was struggling so
He
hard
led
with
them
the
to
Panthers
2
last year.
wins
So why didn't they bring him back
because
As a
they have
backup.
Stafford.
as a backup?
He didn't want to play backup quarterback.
Backup quarterback is, dude, he's in a QB battle with Kyle Trask right now.
No, he's not. He won the job easily.
The fact that he was in a
I want the
battle
Baker
is
train.
rough.
Dude, do you remember
Yikes.
last year when I think I hammered the Rams at halftime and Baker came in and he fucking brought them back and he threw that touchdown to like Tutu Atwell in the fucking corner?
Right?
Dude, that shit was lit. I
It was
won like
prime time. I think it was,
$300 off
Monday
that
Night
game.
Football or something.
That thing was crazy, dude. I was like, oh, I remember, dude. I think I was at my apartment and I was screaming in the party. I was sitting in front of my Xbox. I was screaming in front of the party, buzzing. I was buzzing.
Their defense is still pretty good though.
Who are we talking about?
The Bucs.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what's gonna carry them.
9th in yards against per game and 13th in points against per game. They lost Shaq Mason, offensive lineman. They traded him to Houston, and they released Fournette and Brait. So they really only lost offensive players. They re-signed Levante David and exercised Tristan Wirfs' 5th-year option. So their defense is still elite. They got guys like Vita Vea, Levante David, Devin White, Shaq Barrett, Antoine Winfield.
Antoine Winfield is a senior citizen?
No, he got drafted like a couple of years ago.
No way.
Yeah. I would
Over
say
under
he's
30 years old.
No, he's max in his like 4th year.
No.
Yeah,
But
but
dude,
this
isn't
is my
that the
question.
safety guy?
Yeah. This is my question for you. How much will it wear thin on those veterans when they're playing well, the defense, and their offense can't score? Is the
Dude,
Bucs
why do you
defense
think
going to
they're
be cleared out
idiots?
at the deadline?
Dude,
why are you so
Dude.
optimistic about this offense?
Because they
can't
have
run
a
the
lot of
ball, and
talent.
they have Baker throwing the ball.
because they have a lot of talent.
2 receivers. They have two
2
receivers.
Pro Bowl receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have a run game.
Dude, think about what Tom Brady was last year.
They don't have a run game.
Think about what Tom Brady was 2 years ago.
They don't have a run
They
game.
didn't have a run game at all in those years.
They never
He
have a run
fucking
game.
won a Super Bowl with that team.
What's Tom Brady? I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. Yes.
Get the ball in the playmaker's hands.
Just like I said, it's not yards after catch with those guys. They're not the same
Dude,
type of players.
sometimes I feel like people's brains get turned off with Baker Mayfield. It's insane.
Dude, he's been terrible.
Dude, who was the quarterback before Brady got there? It was Jameis Winston, right? And dude, he's a carbon copy of what Baker is, according to you. The 30 for 30 season. Baker's led the league in picks since he came into the league. Let's go to Mike Evans' stats for his career.
No, he has 1,000 yards every season. We all know it.
Holy shit, dude. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer with these numbers.
Yeah.
What's so
Pretty
funny?
good.
He's also a touchdown machine. 12, 12, 8, 8, 13, 14. He had 6 last year. He plays
6 last
at
year.
least
How many
13
games did they
games in
play?
every season.
How many games did he play last year?
15.
He had 6 touchdowns last year, and they passed the ball 80% of the time.
Dude, they couldn't score. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were under machine.
They had Tom Brady.
They couldn't score. They went 8-9.
They had
They
Tom.
went 8.
They had Tom Brady. Couldn't score. Got worse. Thinks they're gonna be better.
How did they get worse?
Oh, they lost Shaq Mason. And
Not Shaq Mason. You just found out who he was when you were getting these
No,
notes
no,
together.
no.
Yeah.
no, I've heard of him.
Oh, good. It's good that you heard of him.
Leonard Fournette. They lost.
Did he average 3 yards a carry last year? What are we talking about here?
Dude, they didn't
Cameron
get
Brate? Are you
didn't
gonna
get
talk about
better.
him
They
too?
got worse. How did they get better?
By adding Baker.
Yeah, okay. This conversation is over.
No, it's not.
Okay,
dude, I'm
so
serious.
Vita Vea has 3 more years on his deal. He's going to be making 21, 22, and 22.1.
That guy got the bag.
Yeah, and he was making not that much last year. Ryan
Wow.
Jensen signed for 4 more years.
Ryan Jensen.
Shaq Barrett makes over 9% of the cap and has been great in a Bucs uniform, and he's also been very average.
What?
Only played 8 games last year. Contract expires after next season when he's going to be making $24 million.
Dude, you just said in one sentence he's been very good in a Bucs uniform and also very average.
Yeah, because he's played for the Bucs for a bunch of years, and he's been really good and also really bad. Really
What
average.
position does he play?
He's a pass rushing linebacker. He
He'll
had
be
like
fine.
16 sacks one year, and then another year when he was fully healthy, he had like 4.
All right, well, dude, it all depends on scheme.
Devin White, Antoine Winfield, and Levante David, all UFAs next year. All 3 guys could be gone at the
Those
deadline.
are deadline guys, yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, they're not actually going to be like good this year, but I don't think that in that division they should be written off.
I think the Saints easily take it. We'll get to it. I think the Saints
have the
easily
easiest
take
schedule in the
it,
league.
and the Falcons are going to be in the running for like a wild card / the division.
All right, which
But
team do you want to
besides
talk about
that,
next?
well, I always go worst to best, but I wasn't done with the Bucs.
Okay, my
There's
bad.
nothing here to really make me believe that the Bucs are going to succeed.
It's not the Pro Bowl offensive players that they have, or the Super Bowl winning head coach, or the loaded defense that we just spent 10 minutes talking about.
I just think that when you look at the overall how the team is made up, if they hold on to these defensive guys and they just basically tank this year, they get like 3-4 wins. They're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Then Mike Evans and Godwin stay for the rest of their contracts. They don't have to worry about trading those guys, and you're right back in it. Don't you?
Dude, what do you think about Mike Evans and the
I'm a
Giants?
guy that hates the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I hate the whole organization. I hate their uniforms. I hate everything about them. I hate their head coach. He's terrible. I never really liked Tom Brady that much. And it just seems like the perfect team for a really fun, up and coming, maybe next Patrick Mahomes kind of quarterback. It's like I really don't want him to go there, but he's probably going to end up going to the fucking Bucs.
All right. Well, let's move on because I need to get a gauge of what you think about the other teams before I make my predictions.
Panthers, 7-10 last year. They were 10th in rush yards per game. Defense below average. They brought in Frank Reich to replace Matt Rule. Got fired, and then was it last year?
Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, the Steve Wilkes team. They rallied around him. They I think they went like 5-4 at the end of the year, something like that.
Who is their quarterback?
They had
PJ Walker.
They had Baker and Darnold played a little bit too.
Who finished the year?
PJ Walker and Darnold.
Okay.
And people were talking about Darnold because of the 49ers quarterback situation, and they're like, yeah, Darnold played really well for the Panthers at the end of the year. So, no, he didn't at all. They added hella guys. A bunch of veterans. Not like great players, but a bunch of veterans.
Let's go one by one slow.
Hayden Hurst. That guy was good on for the Falcons 2 years ago. And he was very serviceable on the Bengals last year.
Very serviceable. Who knows what that actually means? Dude, this guy had a top 3 quarterback in the NFL who was healthy all year.
And he was the 5th option.
He was the 4th option. But, dude, a tight end has its own role in an offense where, like, they are just as viable to be a good option on any play because they are most of the time covered by linebackers. Like, I'm not going to give a fucking tight end a break, dude. You're a body. Get open.
A team with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. I am going to give him a break. You're not going to have 800 yards and 10 touchdowns or 8 touchdowns.
Well, he's not good enough then. All right, next guy.
He's an average tight end that's going to be very good for Bryce Young, I think. They bring in DJ Chark.
A guy that couldn't succeed on the Jags or the Lions. What Dude, tell
Dude,
me
I
right
think
now.
there's a lot of potential in the receiver market for a lot of these guys where it's like, the deficit is at quarterback. Guys with not enough talent to be able to hit these guys and be able to let these guys make plays. And it's like DJ Chark played with who?
Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff.
Was he on the? I don't think he was on the Jags last year. I think he was on the Lions last year, and he played on the
Goff.
Lions with Amon Ra and TJ Hawk, and
that's it. He was the guy.
yeah, I don't know. He also might have gotten
Khalif Raymond.
I didn't
was
really,
a fucking
look at their
return.
stats. I don't know how many games he played, but before that, he was with Trevor Lawrence in his rookie year, and before that, he didn't make a big name out of himself playing with.
Dude, he was
knows
with
who.
Trevor Lawrence before they got Kirk, Zay Jones, or Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
So he was the second guy there.
Trevor Lawrence got his first road win last year. You think Trevor Lawrence was good in his first season?
Okay, valid counter argument. I'm not gonna lie.
They added Shy Tuttle, another veteran D tackle. Adam Thielen, Deion Jones. I think Deion Jones was on that 2016 Falcons losing team. And
no, he's good. The Giants were talking to him before he signed with the Panthers.
He's always been a really awesome, like roaming linebacker safety kind of guy.
Wait, hold on, slow down. Adam Thielen. So between Chark, Thielen, and Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo was like a 4th-round pick as a receiver at Ole Miss. There is absolutely no telling who is the alpha in that room.
But dude, because they're all average. You need to have one. You have a bunch of young athletic guys with Adam Thielen
when it matters.
You have a bunch of really young, athletic, capable guys.
Dude, most young quarterbacks need a horse to be able to ride around the yard.
I think Adam Thielen and Hayden Hurst will be those like veteran guys that can make plays for him, and then they have their young, exciting guys. The rest of their wide receiver room, like you said, it's Chark, Mingo, Thielen, Terrace Marshall, and Laviska Shenault. It's a bunch of young guys with talent that can make plays. And it's like the Giants, dude. No, dude, how much do we struggle to put that depth chart in order? I have Hodgins at the top.
Dude, it's also not our job, and there's no way for us to tell because we know. Yeah, I have Hodgins at the top too.
Yeah,
but
everybody looks at the
positional, like how it works with you're not going to put your tallest guy in the slot. Hodgins is 6'4", so for me, he's going to be on the outside. Slayton, probably the biggest deep threat outside of Hyatt, but Hyatt just got there, so he's 2. 3, now we got to start talking. Like who? Shepard in the slot? Probably. Why not?
I have Wandell before Shep. Dude, my point is with this is that they have a bunch of average guys, and so do the Giants. The Giants don't have any studs. They have Darren Waller playing tight end. He's a stud. But we both just agreed that the Giants' number 1 receiver, I know we were just talked about versus inside receiver, outside receiver. Inside receiver versus outside receiver. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about number 1 receiver option. And we both just agreed it's Isaiah Hodgins. That is not a great player.
Okay, no, you're right about that. I guess what I'm saying is that all of the Giants players and receivers are, in general, elevated because they have 2, between Daboll and Kafka, 2 proven offensive fucking gurus that elevate every player that plays for them. And the Panthers have Bryce Young, a short, limited rookie quarterback, and Frank Reich as the head coach, who
was really awesome. Was really awesome with Andrew Luck, and then never had another quarterback that was good enough.
He had veterans. He couldn't fucking figure it out with veterans.
Veterans. Matty Ice was way past his prime. And
how much of it was Frank Reich and not Andrew Luck?
And Carson Wentz was just terrible. We all know Carson Wentz is terrible.
Dude, what I'm saying...
They were playing Sam Ehlinger for most of the year, and they played Nick Foles last year, dude.
Dude, I understand. It was
Frank Reich was awesome with Andrew Luck.
But how much of that was Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck was touted as a god before he even came into the league, and he played like that. So, I'm not just going to give Frank Reich the nod on this when... dude, if you put the the Panthers wide receiver room with Dable and Kafka, I bet you he would get more out of those guys than what Frank Reich is going to be able to do.
Okay, and then I think that's a safe bet. But I think Frank Reich has been dealt a shit hand with his offense the past couple of years, and that's why he got canned by the Colts. And I think he's a good enough coach that they want to bring him in to be the QB whisperer for a young quarterback like Bryce Young. Also, it's like you get mad about the Tua people saying that he's just going to get another concussion, but you're also just throwing Bryce Young away because he's too short. I think he's a more capable, more mobile, better playmaker, Drew Brees. And I think he has more arm talent.
So where does that leave Baker?
Baker, dude, Baker's problem has always been decision making. Bryce Young doesn't have that issue as of right now. He also played behind an Alabama O-line.
Terrible in the preseason.
No. They might not be the best team this year, but if Bryce Young can show some promise and their defense can improve, these Panthers will be a force to be reckoned with in this division.
A force to be reckoned with. I couldn't have said it worse myself.
I don't understand your problem with every word that's being said. Divisions aren't definite 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking at other divisions, it's like the NFC North. It's like, dude, we don't know what the Packers are going to be, but they could be decent. They could compete for the division. We don't know. It's just like the Panthers. The Saints could be bad, way worse than we think.
I think the Falcons are the worst team in this division.
I think you're insane. I think you don't think Bryce Young is going to be good at all.
Yeah,
but
I'm nailed it on the head.
Probably age-related, but 4 of the top 5 paid players are defensive players, and the one offensive player in the top 5 is Taylor Modon, who's a right tackle, and Ekwonu will probably be paid after the 2025 season. Joe said that he was bad, but how highly touted he was coming out of the draft. Let's hope he doesn't become the next Eric Flowers. Panthers are one of my teams.
Dude, the Giants defense destroyed the starters for the Panthers in this past week.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And as much as like the Giants have a fuck ton of talent on that defensive line, dude, Kayvon blew right past fucking Ekwonu and got that sack. That's just one play, but like, no, dude. All right.
Falcons.
Thank God.
7-10 last year and overperformance.
Here we go. We're gonna disagree on this somehow.
I don't know how you get 7 wins with Marcus Mariota. They were third in rush yards per game, only behind the Bears and the Ravens.
Hell yeah.
They were 15th in points per game. That surprises me. They added Taylor Heineke. I think we need to mention every time that a quarterback moves, because I think backup quarterbacks are really, really important. How often quarterbacks get hurt. They added Taylor Heineke, Jesse Bates, Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, Trey Flowers, Jermaine Ifedi, and traded for Jeff Okudah. They released Marcus Mariota. They re-signed their Pro Bowl guard, Chris Lindstrom. This team revamped its roster with some defensive studs like Campbell, Dupree, and Bates, and they already had Jarrett and Terrell. Grady Jarrett and AJ Terrell. They have a young team, and they're putting behind a young QB and a star running back at the wheel, but they have room to grow. Their division is going to be very competitive and fun to watch. They're on the same kind of path as the Panthers, where they're growing with a strong supporting cast.
Dude, the Falcons O-line is no doubt top 3 with like the Eagles. I think it's fair to say that they have the best O-line. And then the Lions also had 2 Pro Bowlers on their O-line last year. And, dude, the Falcons O-line is unbelievable. They revived, like, with a quarterback that cannot pass in Mariota. They were still able to. It's like, we know you're going to run. We know you're going to run. And they revived Cordarrelle Patterson's career. He was a stud. And then Tyler Algier was able to have a massive season. They drafted a running back in the first round.
And now they have a quarterback that they can do that. Let's do some rollouts. Let's get quick passes out.
And he's got some legs on him. And then Drake London should have a better year last year. And Jack is his biggest fan. Refused to take anybody else at his flex spot. Now he's your wide receiver too, though, right? Shift. It's only a tough shift because you probably plan to have somebody better at the wide receiver too.
I'm not mad about it, especially having Mike Williams as my flex.
He's gonna get the targets, and I think he's gonna have a great season.
Who else you throw to? Zacchaeus?
I think they have. Don't you have it?
No.
Isn't it Scotty Miller?
Scotty Miller and Zacchaeus. You're right.
I thought they got rid of Zacchaeus. Dude, I swear you have it in there.
Oh, Mac Hollins.
Yeah. I thought he was watching him play on the Raiders last year. I thought he was pretty good, but he's not, gonna change the color of the ocean. But dude,
I really like that one.
Is my favorite.
3 linemen are top 3 highest paid in Atlanta.
Yeah, dude, they're fucking studs. And that dude, the additions on defense, I didn't know, and now I'm way higher on the Falcons than I was before, and I had the Falcons competing with the Saints for the division. The only thing that really drives me with the Saints, for me, this is you absolutely cannot lose the division with the Saints. We'll get to them, and I'm going to bring up their schedule, the Saints schedule now, so that we have it later.
I really want to mention that I forgot to mention with the Panthers. They added Justin Houston as well.
Okay.
And Von Bell from the Bengals.
Yeah.
So their defense is inevitably going to be better, adding starters like that.
There's a lot of under teams this year. Panthers being one of them. They're going to have a slow start regardless.
The run game combined with the potential of London and Pitts could make them be really competitive, and they could potentially be a division winner.
Yeah, I'm high on the Falcons. I was high on Desmond Ridder out of the draft last year. He finally got his chance after Mariota played himself out of the starting job, and he didn't really impress too much, but apparently the whole team, they talk about him he's the man. He's got everything. He is way ahead of where they thought he would be in terms of development at this point, especially with understanding the speed of the NFL and the playbook and all that stuff. And he's got the skills, dude. He throws a good ball, and that his role in that team is going to be a game manager. So I really think that they're going to be much better than they were last year.
These athletic game manager types is the new OP in the NFL.
What the fuck is that?
I just talked about it with those teams.
OP? What is that?
Overpowered.
Oh.
Desmond Ridder, Daniel Jones.
I hate that you're making
Brock
Daniel
Purdy.
Jones that guy. I see Daniel Jones competing with
Jordan Love.
Daniel Jones should end up at the end of the season ahead of Dak. Kirk.
See, I'm talking about a type of player, and you're like, no, he's better than all those guys. I'm saying they play similar.
No, but I'm not putting Daniel Jones in the game manager category.
I think he's
still better than that.
I still think the Giants are going to be a 55% run team.
Yeah, but how many of those runs are going to be DJ scrambling on a pass play?
Also, dude, on that, as good as that drive looked, 8 for 9 for 69 yards and a passing touchdown. The air yards, furthest one was probably the pass to Hodgins, and it was 11 yards.
It's one drive, dude. I'm sure they don't want to show all their cards.
I'm just saying, most of Daniel Jones's game is going to be rollouts and quick passes.
I see no problem with that. I know what you're saying. There's not a lot of risk.
Player he is. He's not he might eclipse Dak Prescott's passing yards, but
all right, let's
he's
move
the same kind of player as those guys we just described. Let's go. New Orleans Saints. They finished 7-10 last year. Notable per game averages 5th in yards against per game, 9th in points against per game. They brought in a new DC, spent his last the last 3 years as the Browns defensive coordinator. He's been a defensive coordinator for 6 years in the NFL, and he's been coaching in the NFL for 19 seasons. Joe Woods, yikes. Welcome to the Saints.
We will welcome you to the Saints.
Yeah, the Cinq Bowl. They added Derek Carr, Foster Moreau, Kendre Miller, Kareem Hunt, Anthony Barr. They lost Adam Troutman. They re-signed Juwan Johnson, Cameron Jordan.
The Cam Jordan one, I think, was supposed to be a holdout, but they snagged him before shit got crazy.
Yeah, they got him early August. And, dude, I don't think you can really complain about the core of the Saints. Talking about the highest paid guys, the guys in the middle of their career, the veterans, the leaders of the team. Cam Jordan, Michael Thomas, But Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, their stud guard, Andrews Pete, and Demario Davis. Demario Davis is year after year quietly one of the best middle linebackers in the league.
They also have Tyrann Mathieu.
And Tyrann Mathieu.
And
they have him at a discount because he's older.
And they still have Kamara. They signed Jamal Williams. They signed Derek Carr. They have Chris Olave.
I can't believe I missed Jamal Williams. Chris Olave is going to be a stud.
Dude, yeah. He's one of those guys that, you know what's crazy is that, like, I feel like back in the day, the receivers that dominated the league were, like, big, fast, jump ball guys. Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Calvin Johnson. And now it's
and then
more like
AB came in.
Yeah, and now it's these, like, skinnier route running guys. So, like, JJ, Jamar, Olave.
And it's like JJ's like what, like
Devontae Smith.
6'3", maybe 6'4". I don't know. That might be too tall, but
I think
Jamar's 6 foot.
I think JJ's 6'1" tops. I don't think he's that big,
I
dude.
think Jamar's 6 foot.
Devontae Smith.
Tyreek, Jalen Waddle's under 6 feet. Like you got a lot of stud receivers that are smaller guys, and you got Chris Olave's right in that mix. I think he can definitely be top 10 this year.
Yeah.
And speaking of Chris Olave too, number one options for Derek Carr, as bad as the Raiders were last year, Devontae Adams had 1,500 yards and like 17 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, dude.
Derek Carr can dish it. Maybe not. Dude,
I those brutal picks sometimes.
The thing with true, and I still think he's not like a great quarterback, but let's not pretend that the Raiders being terrible last year was Derek Carr's fault. That was the worst defense I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, team sucks. And the way that they did Derek Carr was dirty. He's probably on a revenge type season.
They're like, yeah, we want to be able to trade you for value. So we don't want you to get hurt and your career to end. So we're just going to bench you. And then the Pro Bowl was in Vegas and he won that passing competition.
All right. I'm going to go through the Saints schedule. To me, if you're going to bet on a division winner, I would put all the money that you can get your hands on the Saints just because, dude, I'm really, really high on the Falcons, but this schedule is unbelievably easy, specifically the quarterbacks that they're going to play against. Week 1, Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. Week 2, Bryce Young and the Panthers. Week 3, Jordan Love and the Packers. Week 4, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. Week 5, Mac Jones and the Patriots. Week 6, CJ Stroud and the Texans. Week 7, Trevor Lawrence. Week 8, Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Week 9, Justin Fields. Week 10, Kirk Cousins. Week 11, Desmond Ridder. Week 12, Jared Goff. Week 13, Bryce Young again. Week 14, Daniel Jones. Week 15, Matt Stafford. Week 17, Baker Mayfield. Week 18, Desmond Ridder. You don't hear any Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. You don't hear any of the top quarterbacks in the NFL on that list. And with the defensive stats that you just mentioned and the fact that they added to it, it shouldn't be hard for Derek Carr to put up 24 points a game, which is about average, and for them to win this division, because winning this division might mean 9 or 10 wins. So they're playing pretty much every rookie quarterback that won a starting job. I would say the best quarterback that they're going to play this year is probably Trevor Lawrence. Second is Matt Stafford. Third is Jared Goff. There's really nothing.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields. That's it. It's not like they're playing the best quarterbacks in the league. And like, what has Bill Belichick made his living on? This is kind of a side subject, but it's beating bad quarterbacks. So it's not hard to beat the bad quarterbacks, is my point. That's all I have on the Saints, dude. They should be able to just take care of business and win this division. But the sad part is that their ceiling in terms of what they could do in the playoffs is pretty low.
Looking at teams where you have years to look forward to of playing really well, the Saints are one of those teams, considering who's in their division, barring any like huge jump. Like say like the Bucs get Caleb Williams and they're competing for the division next year.
Dude, you're really high on this Caleb Williams guy.
I don't think it's crazy. People are talking about him. Dude, he won the Heisman last year, and people were talking about him coming out to the draft this year.
Dude, I understand that, but there's so much that has to go right. There's so like, dude, Mariota won the Heisman. Didn't Baker win the Heisman? Or no?
Yeah, but it's like a
Johnny Manziel won the Heisman.
I think Baker did win the Heisman, but I mean, dude, I get college football is a totally different game, but we've watched this kid.
Yeah, but I also thought that he was super reckless.
He was reckless. I'll give you that. Just arm talent and playmaking wise, it was Mahomes-esque.
It was, but
a lot more reckless. But Mahomes is been reckless.
What you have to do with Mahomes is like, first of all, his leadership. I think that we kind of saw in the documentary is unbelievable. It's lead by example combined with
be loud,
passion, supporting everybody. And it's like, dude, his recklessness, like, in order to play that reckless and be successful, somebody has to let you play that reckless, kind of like Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. And if that shit doesn't go well in the beginning, it's going to force the head coach to put a leash on it. And then the ceiling for that type of player is possibly capped. Like, I don't know, dude. I'm going to be hesitant until I see it more. And I'm going to watch USC games this year.
Absolutely. I totally forgot about college football until last week. And oh boy, am I fired up.
Here we go. Jack's going to be hammering the minus 28.5.
Let's fucking go. Yeah. Bring it on, FanDuel. Damn, what was I just about to say? Oh, yeah, the humility aspect. Just a little tidbit. Colin Cowherd, he's always ragging on Baker.
Any opportunity he gets. His writers have one assignment every day. Fit Baker into the script.
And he was talking about the other day how if he's in a quarterback battle with Kyle Trask, he should just retire.
Of course.
But he always brings up Baker. He always brings up Johnny Manziel still. And he brought up Caleb Williams. And just from like a humility aspect, we both know what Baker and Johnny Manziel were in college. They're cocky party guys. We know that for sure. That has been confirmed. They didn't have the humility. They didn't handle adversity well when people were talking shit about them once they got into the NFL. They fired back. They didn't have any humility. Collins talking up Caleb Williams, yada, 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 all this time. Everybody's talking about him. Collins like his biggest fan. And Caleb Williams comes up to Colin Cowherd at the Super Bowl and he says, hey, man, like, stop hyping me up so much. I'm not as good as you think I am, kind of thing. The opposite of like a really cocky kid. Like, he seems like he's down to earth. He's grounded. He knows that he's not perfect. And it's hard to like make these like grandiose statements like, oh, he knows he's not perfect kind of thing. But like that tiny little like piece of evidence is just an example of like I'm not going to go running my mouth in the media and like painting a bad picture. You never know how you're going to come off to your teammates. Kyler Murray could be the best teammate behind closed doors, but that guy's body language is atrocious. And it looks like a cancer whenever I look at it. Just like, wow, this guy has the worst attitude ever. And I never would want to play on the same team as him. But if you have a guy like Caleb Williams that comes in super young, super mature, comes in super motivated like Mahomes, really big playmaker, passionate player, who's ready to lead by example, I think he's going to be awesome. Let's finish up the Saints.
I have nothing left on the Saints.
I think at worst they lose control of the division and win like 6 or 7 games, but that would have to be with like injuries. At best, though, they go on an absolute run. They don't make it to the Super Bowl, though. There's no way.
Dude, we have to keep in mind this year, like if we see a team start 7-0, like the Giants did last year, not 7-0, but like these teams that started off hot, it's like we have to look at the quality of wins and we have to not overreact because the lines are probably going to be adjusted each week as to what. Like if the Saints start 6-0 and they have not the Rams. I don't know. They have like a middle of the pack, like the Jags. The Jags is right in the middle of their season. If they're like 7-1 when they play the Jags and the line is like 7.5, I don't know why it would be, but like for the Saints, maybe the Jags start 4-3 or 3-4. It's like we got to be careful, dude. We know what these teams are. Like let's not kid ourselves. All right. Yikes.
That's them.
Yeah.
It's time for the Cinq Boys bet stamp ad bonus.
All right, let's see if we can fucking see some NFL bets. All right, here we go. So we have the dude. Who's the backup quarterback for the Eagles? Oh, it's Mariota. Yikes, dude. He looked terrible last week. All right, so I'm looking at Thursday, August 24th, this Thursday. I'm looking at the BetStamp app. And I click on the Steelers at the Falcons. I think that the Steelers are probably deeper, and they're probably going to play Kenny Pickett for at least the first half. So if I were going to take, of course, if I were going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game, I would go through the BetStamp app and look at all these different sports books at the same time. And I would see the Bets 365 has them at minus 185 to win this game. When apps like FanDuel, Caesars have it at minus 200, and BetRivers and Unibet have the balls to be at minus 208. Crazy people, dude. Crazy. Bet 365 gives me the minus 185 on the pick that I want to take for this day. And I wouldn't have known that without the BetStamp app.
You're goddamn right. I want to play a little game real quick. We're going to go through all the NFC Souths and the NFC West's week 1 best line we can get and see if we would take it. So, first option is the Panthers are playing the Falcons. Best line you can get for the Panthers is plus 3.5. Best line you can get for the Falcons is minus 3. Which one would you take?
Falcons minus 3.
Falcons minus 3. I would probably do the same. Next, we have the Niners minus 2.5. Would you take that against the Steelers in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Be a tight one. You can get the Steelers at plus 2.5. Barstool Sportsbook plus 100.
I don't want that at all. I want fucking the 49ers to come out week 1 and Dude, I think the Steelers are going to be a problem this year, but I think it might take them a couple games to get going, and the 49ers are no easy task in week 1.
What about the Cardinals +6 in Washington?
I just threw up.
Joe's in love with Sam Howell. The entire NFC East is going above 500. The Bucs +6.5 in Minnesota.
I'll take that. Baker to the
There
moon.
it is. The Saints -3 at home against the Titans.
Hammer Village.
The Seahawks and the Rams. You can get the Seahawks -5 at points bet for -110. The Rams +5.5 Barstool Sportsbook. Same line.
The line is
-110.
$5.5.
+5.5 for the Rams.
I'm taking the Seahawks.
-5 points bet.
I'm hammering.
-110.
What are we talking about here, bud?
And that rounds out my little game.
I had fun.
So did I. That was a great time.
Yeah. All right. Well,
We're buzzing.
use code Cinq boys, CINQ boys, to when you sign up for BetStamp. And if you forget to do it when you sign up, you could do it in the settings after. This has been the Cinq Boys podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CINQBOIS.
You have something in your eyelash.
Thanks. I didn't get it.
No,
but
it's close to your nose.
Dude.
You got it.
Thank God.
Yeah. I was going to go crazy.
Waited the entire podcast to tell me. All right, guys. All right, I think we have 2 divisions left. And we're going to do it next week. All right,
and we're going to bring on Sharif and
yes, guys.
Phil and Kentel.
Yes,
the
guys.
mental.
All right.
Bye.